which would be earning interest on wxDAI with hedge funds. So laying this one out here, let's scroll up all the way to the top. So this would basically be using a portion of the hedge funds raised. It could be either from the reserve balance, which is in the augmented bonding curve, or the common pool, which we use to fund the TEC initiatives, to deposit as collateral on AGAVE and earn passive interest on it. So some of the questions here are, which pool do we use? Do we use it from the common pool, the reserve balance, both, just one, and what amounts? And what are the cultural and technical implications of each? So we can dive in right there. If anyone has any strong shares around this, go ahead, the floor is open.
So my only strong feeling with this is to not incorporate any type of wrapped wxDAI, AGAVE wrapped wxDAI into our bonding curve. For me, that is a absolute no-go for me. I will, I don't want to incorporate that type of risk within our bonding curve for many reasons, but outside of that, I'd have no problem with having interest-bearing, stable wrapped wxDAI as a part of our treasury. But incorporating it within the bonding curve is an absolute strong no for me.
I have no issues as long as we use Nexus Mutual or one of those insurance services to make sure we are covered if we decide to go for the reserve on the bonding curve funds. For the other stuff, for the other funds, I have no issue at all. I think it's part of our we have to check what's out there and use part of our funds to try to get more funds to finance the DAO for whatever reason we need those funds for, give more grants or rewards or whatever. It's just another revenue stream that we have, and we should at least consider it and, of course, analyze all the risks. It's not the same the reserve funds than the common funds, but there's services out there, insurances that we could use to be covered.
Yeah,
I think that's a really great point. Go ahead, Zepty.
Regarding security, for me, it would be like what SEM says. Like if SEM says it's secure, right now SEM say the contracts are not validated, and we need to take care of that. But at the end of the day, SEM built our bonding curve, so he knows what he's doing. And if he don't know what he's doing, then our bonding curve wouldn't be secure. And of course, like adding more features, it's more lines of code, so potentially more vulnerabilities. But I don't know, if Sam tells me, okay, this is secure, I would feel confident with his word. And if he says, okay, we shouldn't do that, this is not secure, that's regarding security. But I also agree with what Santi was saying, like now you see 2-3%, it looks, too low compared with what Sushi is offering, 20%. I don't know if you say that, Santi. So yeah, maybe we should also explore other opportunities that give us more shield. And I also trust Sushi. It was holding a lot of money for a very long time. So yeah, I think we should see other options too. But regarding security, I would trust them.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of other places out there that might have more competitive interest rates, and really it's like, what kind of a personal relationship do we have with them? Can we get a good deal, or are we just another sum of money in their system? And I guess part of it is interacting with them. We're also using and promoting their platform, and also being able to collaborate with communities that are really value aligned, I think, which is part of the appeal as well. which is more than just, acquiring more value.
I think both things have to be kept on our mind, but they don't. It's not one or the other. It's both. And I think we should work with those communities that help us, and have the same values than we do. And we can use those services that we have nothing to do with them, but they provide us a good yield. Either they are sushi or whatever they are, So, and it's not one or the other. We could use both, but we have to consider absolutely everything: the economical benefits and the community or benefits.
Yeah, I also wanted to second zepty's concern for security. I don't know what the general feel is about this, but there have been some issues lately with bridges and like how centralized these can work. So I would personally go for keeping everything in wxDAI so far. And I feel also that like a good indicator for this could be the status in Garden, especially around like the whole one hive migration to Arbitrum. But as long as Garden is still on wxDAI, for security reasons, I would go for staying in wxDAI. And when you bring it down to that, there are not like a lot of options really. I like Santi's idea on sushi, but sushi is also like included in HoneySwap. So we don't have to be like also like just in one possibility. We could do many, as Santi says. But I feel strongly that we should maybe like prioritize in DAO to DAO like value alignment. So I do feel that if we're gonna like get into this, AGAVE could be a good start. But I think Ciro mentioned I'm also might be biased because I from time to time contribute to AGAVE. Like right now I'm involved like in a like a marketing project with them. But I do feel comfortable doing this because of community values. So yeah, I wanted to put that on the table.
And maybe something that we didn't touch on here is like, what kind of agreements will we have in here? Because, there's certain things that would be bad for them and bad for us. And with Santi talking about insurance, like, what if they all of a sudden lowered the interest rate to like a really tiny amount, or if the TEC wanted to pull out, 90% of the collateral all at once, what kind of expectations will we have from each other? And how do we enforce that?
Does it matter that AGAVE is like a strict limit on their token issuance and our coins on a bonding curve? Does that make a difference?
Sorry, do you mean like
I don't think so, Meraverde, because what we are intending to do can be done by anyone who owns a bunch of tokens, TEC tokens. I mean, it's not something that we only can do. Anyone can do it.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm asking if in the comparative value and all of that, like they have I forget what we call it, but like they issued their tokens and that's all that's going to get issued, right? And so it's a finite token against a potentially infinite token, and I don't know what difference that makes. And I'm super shy of liquidity pools at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is really only dealing with wxDAI now. So, I mean, this isn't as relative as it is to maybe the previous proposal, because we're only talking about just swapping wxDAI for.
I'm so sorry. I missed the switch. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I mean, that is a valid point, and we'll have to study the effects of those. But this is literally just, staking in wxDAI and getting the staked interest accrued version of that collateral.
There's a lot of impermanent loss, and I feel like with yeah, never mind.
We can open this up maybe and just go down and hear some more voices. Wonka, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think this is super interesting, and all points are being really valuable. So yeah, I think this needs further discussion. But yeah, I am not against doing this, and I also think that there's no hurry now that we know that this can be done at any point. But yeah, it's something that we should be talking about. So it's very interesting to participate in this discussion.
Mitch, I have to leave a little bit soon, but before I just wanted to ask if how signaling is going to work with this. Like, is it going to be through like specific proposals, or yeah, just about how we can further engage with decisions being taken with it?
Well, I would like to just collect as many ideas as possible. There's just so many different things that we can do. And just in this debate here, there's so many things that was totally not on my radar at all. But ideally, I would like to trim down all the possibilities and maybe come with something more concrete to propose formally to the community within 2 weeks. So, I mean, this is really the time, just like if you have ideas, just like comment on the forum post, please. Does that answer your question?
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Livy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think I'm a bit ignorant on this, so I'm just like learning. Thank you.
Great. Manu?
No, I'll go over the proposal and see what other options there are. I'm really fond of derivatives and options, and there's like I saw the index co-op. There's a lot of products out there, so I'll do some research and come up with some some informed opinions on this to contribute.
Great. I see as well Tam joined. Hey, Tam.
Hey. Yeah, so I'm largely a spectator right now and just watching how this unfolds. I would say, in general, I support the direction. In general, I really support your leadership in taking this. And I would say probably if I was to vote on it today, I would support something like, so I like the alignment with OneHive and AGAVE. I think that's probably a well-aligned partnership. And I would say probably mitigating risks would be to do some sort of experimental first try could be an option. So 5-10%, something small just as a proof of concept that this will work and sort of see the results, even though it may not be very meaningful in terms of the interest. It could still be an interesting proof of concept for future, maybe different versions of what we do at first. So I would say maybe we could do some sort of like small test soon or with the Commons upgrade, and then explore options over time for something that's more complex.
I think that's really valuable, Don't go all in all at once. Zepty, have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I like, working with, as Tam was saying, working with Agave. It's, it doing this. I think it benefits Agave. It benefits also One Hive, and it benefits us. It's a win-win-win situation. So I kind of support it, but I'm very curious about the security, and I also think we could do, like small things, like. But I would, maybe I'm more greedy than Tam, and I would go like 20%, something like that, and then during the time making it bigger. But at the same time, Santi wake up on me, like, exploring other projects. Maybe it's more degen and not so value aligned, because sushi values are not the same as One Hive. But with this money we can advance the field. So I'm kinda, honestly, if I had to get a decision now, my decision would be explore more things and get a decision later on. But yeah, that's my feeling.
I think it's kind of hard because it's like we are putting ourselves into the point of deciding between one or the other, and anything that brings value to TEC, it's good. It doesn't matter if it's One Hive, if it's Agave, if it's Sushi, if it's Curve, if it's Terra, or if it's whatever. And anything we do with One Hive or Agave is good. We are already, cousins. We are very close one another. There's, people joining both communities, and nothing probably is going to change if we put money on Agave or we don't put money on Agave. We can do whatever we want with our money. It's not that we have to do it on Agave. I think we have to try, and it's a good exercise to put ourselves, if it was my money, would I put it on Agave or would I put it on somewhere else where I can get more money if I don't know who the hell is that somewhere else? And that's what we have to think of. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to keep being friends with Agave. It's not that I'm, betraying Agave for not putting my money on Agave. It's completely different story. I'm going to keep doing things with them. I'm going to keep, if it's worth doing them and if it benefits both communities. And, it's a completely different story. And I think we're mixing things here because we both feel very close to One Hive, all of us. Some of us are working on both communities. But this is a business decision. And we have to think that way. And in terms of money, besides that, there's many things we can do in Agave. There's some amount of money that we can put there, some amount of money that we can put somewhere else. But any decision, we have to isolate it, because it's not that if we don't do it, we're not gonna, keep being friends as we are right now. It doesn't work that way. So that's what I would suggest that we do. And still, again, we can do both. It's not that we have to do one and not do the other. I mean, to me, it would be clear if one, and I'm not, this is just for demo purposes. I have no idea how much we can get from Agave, but I know that Curve is giving 28% yield on the 3 liquidity pool, Tether, US dollar circle, and wxDAI. And if I compare that to a 2% and it's my money, I clearly know where I'm going. And that's a business decision. And that doesn't mean that I keep collaborating with One Hive or with Agave if I think it's worth for me to collaborate with them. I've done it in the past and I may do it in the future. I have no problem with that. But it's a completely different decision. And that's what we should consider. I mean, and it's sometimes it's kind of hard or tough to think of DAOs as a business. But we are dealing with people money. And as soon as we are dealing with not just our money, but with people money, we are somehow a business. Or at least we have to take the decisions thinking on the profit of not just us, but the rest of people who's given us, the confidence of putting the money on our hands. And that's my way of thinking. Of course, the first thing that we have to check is security. And if that means waiting before AGAVE gets the sufficient security we think it has to have. That's key. And if we choose some other protocol that we are not so close, we may use other tools like Nexus Mutual or other insurance protocols that are out there that we can use. But even if I hear what Zepty says, that if Sam says is safe, I feel safe. I know, but Sam is not. It's not infallible. I mean, he can be wrong. Any one of us can be wrong. I mean, there may be gaps. Even the auditor may have forgotten some gaps. The best companies get gaps. So we are not covered all the way just because one of us is involved in the project. I mean, Sushi's got probably tons more resources than what we do, and other protocols may also. So to me, it's a matter of analyzing risks and benefits, and that's all. We can put on the table the social and community benefits, but what I'm saying here is that it's not that if we don't do it, we're not gonna be able to keep having those benefits, because if both communities think that they have to be working together on other areas, they will. It doesn't matter if we put the money there or not.
Can I jump in? I might not have heard the point of view that Santi is speaking towards, because I joined late. But I just want to say, I think we should also consider, alongside what Santi is saying, that we're not portfolio managers. We can't make quick decisions if we want to exit a position, for example. So probably when we're looking at treasury management, we're looking at risk management. And the point is not to extract the maximum value, but rather to take prudent positions so that we can acquire a steady growth. So when we're looking at options that we should consider until we have maybe a more portfolio management style approach to treasury management, what we should probably look at is the options that lower the risk for us.
I'll add to that point is, we can have these conditions, right? So, we can come forward with a proposal, but we can have strings on that saying, first of all, that the contracts need to be validated, which is big. We want to be sure of that security point. And another point that Zepty brought up was that they're using a multi-sig, but they want to migrate to a full DAO, which I think is important to have as well, that we're looking at how do they make decisions. And so there's different ways that we can add conditions onto this agreement, which I think will satisfy some of these points.
Yeah, I think it's really important that what we get out of this entire process is that we evaluate how DAO-to-DAO collaborations occur and try to develop a framework for it, kind of a more formalized approach to it. Because I do think what Mitch mentioned with the other proposal, and I kind of mentioned it here, is understanding the role of governance with these tokens. And how they impact everything that we have. And so that's why I'm very much against incorporating any type of dual currency bonding curve utilizing the AGAVE financial product, because what they decide to do with their token impacts how our economy runs. And I just don't think that is a strong no-go, and I will stand against that type of move if that's the route we decide to go. But I do think that we need to start thinking about setting up the infrastructure to manage our treasury, to have a dedicated working group, to kind of hopefully get people in here who can create a framework around risk management and allow us to do this gradually and incrementally instead of all at once. I have no problem with putting some money in, a small percentage into the AGAVE wrapped wxDAI and earn interest. I don't have a problem with that, and I think we should probably do that with multiple Terra, all different kinds, diversify as much as possible. But I do think extreme actions like messing with the bonding curve is something that I can't stand for. So that's the only thing that I have to say about that. So.
I think now's a good time to be protective of our token and really consider what we're doing with it, and which we are.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, this is really just the wxDAI. So this won't actually have any impact on the token, like the TEC token. And I will add to, I think, Santi and probably some others' point that this is hopefully just the first of many, and so it would be prudent not to put 20% or more of our funds into one single thing, but rather, test the waters out little by little and really branch out to as many aligned possibilities.
Yeah, I agree with that. We probably should start with those things that eliminate additional variables, like what Chui said, not getting away of wxDAI because we have to bridge, and bridging brings a centralized point of failure, and using just maybe if we are analyzing the revenue out of putting some wxDAI of our funds, use liquidity pools that just use stable coins. So we are eliminating almost or bringing to zero the impermanent loss problem, and start from there with a small amount, and not use the funds from the bonding curve. Just use the funds that we have raised, and start from there, and start feeling comfortable, and of course vote on the community if we see it's worth the risk is worth the amount of revenues that we are raising with that operation.
Cool. This was really great. We got 5 minutes left till the top of the hour. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to share?
I'll just say that we do have a lot of avenues on how to use this initial purchase into the bonding curve, and that the more funds that we allocate or dedicate to a particular avenue, the less money we will have to dedicate to others. So I think prioritizing what we want to do with this, I think understanding that we want to provide liquidity for our token, we want to fund our rewards DAO, we want to do all these things. I think we need to make some realistic projections on what we can use for what and how much. So
Yeah, exactly. Are there any other points? Wonderful. Yeah, I'll just say it again. If you guys have any more ideas or any more proposals to use with these hatch funds in any other way, I think this is the time to get the ball rolling. And I will state part of my original intention with this proposal was just exactly that. I saw AGAVE finally launched the platform, and there was a clear opportunity there for the TEC to get involved with that. And really, we just need to start creating ideas, because we're going to be doing this commons upgrade, and we need to start kind of making a plan for these sorts of things. So I would encourage people to leave more opinions on the forum posts, and if you have any more ideas for these sorts of proposals regarding hatch funds, I would say this is the time to start getting creative with it. And with that, I think we can wrap up this debate. If anyone wants to add any final remarks.